anybody find out something different? Who knows?
Oh, I bet we're gonna have to stand up again.
Last time I had high football, I was 8 years old catching. You know how hard that is? You see two balls splitting right here.
So when you look in your book, it looks like his dad graduated and his mom didn't. I'm not gonna share it. I'm not gonna, yeah. I got mom.
Okay, depending on which one you wanna look at, one's 6:59, the other one's 7:01. We're gonna open the meeting. Since we've already have done the pledge of allegiance, and silence, we'll forego that part. Public comments concerning any agenda item. Anybody would like to talk? Mr. Connor?
My name's Tim Connor, President Delphi Classroom Teachers Association. My address is 5634 West State Road 18, Delphi, Indiana. And I would like to talk about 4D, the COVID pay. So we met with Mr. Ronk and we spent about an hour with him, and we kind of found out that this was, not really discussable, not really negotiable. But it's our understanding that the amount that was given to the staff was so that money could be built up to increase salaries for the employees, and we just want to make sure everybody understands that intent and that we're all on the same page, because what we don't want to see happen is for our salaries to, in no way should this be considered bargaining, but what we don't want to see our salaries fall behind again with around surrounding schools and lose 15 or 16 teachers like what we've done in the past, and because the teacher market's collapsing. So I just wanted you to know that when the amount of money, if you go and compare it to what other school corporations are doing, it's a little bit, it's a less, but it's our understanding the intent was to build up the salaries, well, not salary schedule, but salary grid. So thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, sir. All right. Approval of the minutes for May 10th. Need a motion.
I move we approve the minutes for May 10th as presented.
Second. Thank you. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on it? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, we will now. So, thank you, Mr. Myers. So we have some added items that to the agenda that was out earlier, and I need a motion to adopt those.
So moved.
Thank you. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, routine matters. Employment of classified summers, school staff. Mr. Ron.
You want me to?
No, I go
Oh.
through them. So, let me, I guess I'll just go through and say, Deb Bresnahan for $14 an hour as needed at the high school. Amy Schlick, $14.75, June only. Irene Pyle, DCHS, $16.41 an hour as needed, sub only. Angie Kemp, DCES, $12.90 an hour as needed. Stacy Pearson at DCES, $11.15 an hour as needed. Cindy Moose, DCHS, $11 an hour as needed. Jill Mouty at DCMS, $11 an hour as needed. Becky Stevens, DCMS, $11 an hour as needed. Teresa Royer, DCMS, $11 an hour as needed. Sabrina Brown, $13.75 an hour as needed. And Libby Zupun.
Panic?
Okay, thank you. DCHS, $11 an hour as needed.
And those are all food service employees.
Yes, that's what it is. Employment of, certified staff. We have Bailey Atkins, DCES, fifth grade teacher, $38,200. 1 year experience with benefits, as under the 2021 teacher contract. Shelby Marshall,
Marshall.
okay. CECC resource room,
Teacher of record.
teacher of record. See what, there we go, 44,200, that's under the teacher contract, and that's at 184 days. Bailey's 184 too, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. Kevin Sims, DCHS as assistant principal, 75,000, he will go to a 220-day contract. Mr. Chip Dell as our DCHS athletic director for 75,000, standard contract of 220-day contract. Employment of student helpers for the summer, food service, Marin,
Coker?
Coker, gosh. Cafeteria help, $11. Brooke Farrell, $11 for the same. Technology, Nate Rossi, DCSC Technology help, half days in June, full days in July for $11 an hour. Dalen Hyman, DCS Technology help, full days both in June and July, $11. Transportation, Galvin Gleason, Reagan Gleason, Haley Nelson, and Cade Nelson, all for $11 an hour. Employment of certified staff, Ithana McFall, CECC Health Room Aide at $10.60, maximum of 20 hours a week. Resignations, Mindy Cotton, our music teacher at the high school, middle school. Nicole Nelson as project lead the way teacher. Ashley Hansel, DCES art teacher. Pete Brodo, DCMS high school permanent sub, there we go. And Mary Wayfield, DCES cafeteria. Waymeyer, what'd I say?
Wakefield.
Wayfield? It's in bifocals, I told you. I'm gonna get rid of it. Fundraisers and facility usage, request, for field trips. Permission for summer welding class, DCHS SAD, semi-formal dance, October 7th, 2021. Amount needed is $1,000. Ticket sales is, the September 29th, through October the 2nd. Proceeds used for Red Ribbon Weekend alcohol awareness. So I need a motion.
I move we accept routine matters A through F as presented.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you, guys.
On, B4,
Yes.
should his job title not state DCHS and DCMS since he is running both high school and middle school sports?
Well, or I would even say DCSC.
Yeah, it should just be
athletic director.
applicant.
I'd say it's a corporation wide,
Yeah, it should just be.
so we will make
Delphi.
that change.
Yep.
Thank you.
Item 3, under C, are those just summer help, is that being allowed as well?
Yes. And, I had shared briefly earlier that very likely we will hire a bus driver to supervise that work to make sure it gets done well and that, again, very strongly consider this for ESSER funding because of the sanitation issue, and so we wanna make sure it's done right.
Thank you.
I have a question on, 4D. Did you say certified or classified? Or did my ears deceive me?
Classified. Classified
I
stuff.
wanna make sure that's. And I was reading about the summer welding class. How is that gonna be virtual?
The students that take it, will be present, but it's virtual in the sense that they're gonna wear those goggles that show them an image, and instead of doing real welding, with welding equipment, they will do it as if they're playing a video game.
Okay, I fail to see how that's gonna work, but, I mean, we can stand there and do that, but.
You might
Until
wanna go
they're
check it
actually-
out.
Yeah, I wanna see them actually virtual. I'm gonna virtual weld something here and falls apart.
You can,
Don't touch it.
You-
It's hot.
as I shared with you, it's being taught by owners of welding companies that are actually training people to do it that way, and they find it much more efficient and cost effective than doing it with real equipment.
Is
Now,
that
when
just
they-
Delphi students then, or? is
What's
that just Delphi students?
It's only Delphi students.
Okay.
And at the end of the time frame, at the end of the month, they will be able to take their certification test using real equipment, Mr. Nipple, and
Which they should be doing all along.
that will be free, and they certainly stand the opportunity to become certified welder. So I think maybe it has a lot of potential for the future of what we're gonna be doing, but there's no cost to us other than space and which is, the building's already gonna be utilized, and then there will be some equipment, a little bit of equipment cost at the end. We have background checks for those instructors, we have their insurance certification, and this is a program that's been developed by Purdue, and
So he's coming from Purdue.
yes, I'm very anxious to go put on the goggles and just see what it looks like.
So the instructor will be here,
Yes,
and then they'll be doing it virtual.
yeah, it's for 5
Or
hours,
whatever.
it's for
Yeah.
5 hours on, I believe every Tuesday.
Have any idea how many students we're talking about?
I thought we had between 8 and 10.
We will.
Oh, you will? Okay,
And clap for,
okay.
we go. Okay, any other questions? If not, all in favor on the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, at this point, I will take the pleasure, if you will stand up, sir. Mr. Dell, our new, as you've seen, our athletic director for the school corporation. I will say that we interviewed and had a lot of applications come through, and we had some good candidates, but we appreciate you coming on board with us, and I know you've got some pretty good goals to achieve over the next 2 to 4 years. Anything you'd like to say about coming back home?
No, I'm just excited to come back home, absolutely. It's been an interesting process to interview with a lot of people you've known for a long time. And I could not be happier to be coming home to the job I've always wanted.
Thank you.
Well,
Thanks, guys.
thanks, Chip.
Okay. Other business, Mr. On, summer computers purchase.
Mr. Gear has presented you with a proposal for buying student devices, and the summary of it is it's $101,000, $715, and so I would request that we make that purchase.
Let's get a motion on this.
I make a motion to, move ahead with the summer computer purchases as presented.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any questions? Maybe we'll ask Mr. Here that if he's got any comments to the purchase or anything like that, exactly where they may be going to as far as the replacement. I know we have a kind of a thing.
Yeah, so with the Chromebooks for the students, obviously, we have already purchased quite a few of them. We're using the year grants earlier this year, so we use them. What is allotted for the purchase of the Chromebooks from last summer for that money. The reason why we didn't buy all was the price of the Chromebooks licensing. The Google licensing was going up on March 13, 15, somewhere in the middle of March. It was going to go up like $8 to $10 per license. So we went ahead and used the money to buy all the licenses we need this year. So which took up a chunk of what we used. So we were still shy of 120 Chromebooks. So that's the reason why. Because you don't, usually you see Google licenses you purchase with every Chromebook. That's why you're not seeing that this year. The Lenovo basically are replacing the computer labs for the print shop for Mrs. Pickering, for Mrs. Brummett's yearbook / photography computer lab, and Mrs. Kennedy's lab back in the business wing. Those are all still desktops. They're probably, I'd say, 10 years old now. So, so we're gonna replace all those and the monitors in there as well, because they're all 15-inch monitors, and they're starting to dissipate in color and all that stuff, and show some wear and tear. So, that's where plus we have several hirings, I believe, coming up, that we're gonna be adding new classrooms, so some teachers will be getting extra desktops for those. So like 10 extra desktops corporate-wide to fill in for staff who do not have a desktop now, who's been using a laptop or been using a virtual machine as their computer at their desk right now. So we're going for those. So that's for the Lenovo 7510 and 65 for labs, 10 for the staff. So we do not have a desktop right now. So,
What are the touchscreen Chromebooks going to be used for?
those are kindergarten and first grade. So we're game plans to buy 50 to 60 a year and just replace like a fourth of them every year
They will
for 4-year rotation.
Stay in that
They
age
stay in
group?
the kindergarten and first grade.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so we buy every year, we try to buy second grade, sixth grade, and ninth grade. So kindergarten and first grade stay, the touchscreen stay, and they'll get the second grade, they'll get a new Chromebook, they stay with the fifth grade. In sixth grade, they'll get a new.
So what's the actual amount altogether that we're talking about here?
Mr. Long, I think that mentioned.
Well,
Cause I'm seeing a lot of different numbers here.
You said 101,715.
well, and I believe I need to correct that as I look through this. So what, for the Chromebooks, it's $102,217.
715.
$102,217. There is a visual, it's back there at the Visual Edge IT page. And then the Google licenses are $13,060.
I think you're reading something else. I think, are you looking at a quote?
Do you have the number?
Just from,
Can you,
Scott, do you have the number for us?
just from Visual Edge?
That's pretty much all of it right there.
This is
It
everything
is?
together?
Those are the Chromebook and Lenovo's.
Okay, and where are those monitors?
Monitors are, actually, we're going different vendor for the monitors because they have better pricing. So those are the two together. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, here, guys, let me, do my quick math here. Okay.
okay,
And 101.
all right.
Okay, Okay, so the amount will be that you're looking to approve for everything that's on here for the 120 Chromebooks, the 60 Acers, the 75, the tiny desktops, and 75 monitors, will be $109,909.50.
Now, are the licenses in there?
We purchased the licenses back early in the year.
We've already done,
Okay.
we've already done that.
All right.
So-
And, can you get us some copies around for everybody, please?
Got
Everybody.
another, well, do that.
No, what?
Well, there's a part on here for optional maintenance. Are we talking about possibly doing that? That was $5,054.25.
5,054, you said?
Well, wait, hang on.
So that would
Yeah.
be,
I just-
but no, we're not doing any of the other warranties and stuff like that.
Right.
We repair them in-house.
Okay,
So that's why we don't usually allow the seniors and the eighth graders turn theirs in, because they become a lot old enough to be parts. So, and luckily all the monitoring kind of fits back with the old, we can take out old displays and put them new ones.
sort of new for old. So the amount again is $109,909.50. And that is the monitors, the Chromebooks, any desktops and monitors, okay. No added service agreement.
Okay, just wondering about that.
Thank you. All right, any other discussions, concerns?
For the minutes, we wanna put who those two purchases are going to.
Yeah, he's getting that, so.
Okay.
Yes. The two purchases, so we added in there. They are coming, from, the monitors is coming from Visual Edge IT, and the Chromebooks and, the other components, is coming from, Rowing IT Solutions. You are all getting a copy here.
They were in the packet too, cause Chris has them right here.
Okay.
They're in that.
I wanna make sure that. Yeah,
Those are there?
okay.
They were in there, weren't they?
Okay. Better be safe than sorry. Okay, any other questions for Scott? Not? Yeah. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Permission to sell buses. When we, purchase buses, there are buses that sometimes need to go out the door, and I believe this is probably, that case. Right, Mr. Ross? Yes. There's Ross.
Correct. Buses 5 and 12. Any,
Our oldest and weakest, we can use publicsurplus.com, Dr. what's his name? Your guy. Russell.
Hannah?
Dr. Hannah.
Yeah.
Hooked me up with that a few years back. That way we don't have to advertise, it goes out to any public entity. And, they usually sell at least $1,000 to $1,500 higher than this trade name. And we got 2 new buses coming June 2nd next week, so. That'll still leave us with 4 surpluses.
Okay, so I need a motion to allow, the school corporation, particularly Ross actually, to, sell off, buses 5 and 12.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. Okay, any discussion? Comments, questions? Okay, if not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
might mention the last 2 buses we sold were driven to North Dakota. So, it'll be interesting to see where these 2 are.
Glad they did right.
Yeah, glad they got there.
We were getting there, yeah. Okay, C, Encompassing Education Incorporated, Professional Service Agreement.
When I was discussing the ESSER 2 grant, I talked about these two professional development opportunities. They are expensive, but They are the best options that we have been able to find to provide math intervention and training for our 6 through 12 teachers. And also the second one is a opportunity to provide just simply improved instructional strategies and practices for our middle school teachers who were missed out the first time that this was done. So there are two separate agreements there. One is for $45,000, the other one is for $40,000.
Since they are separate agreements, right?
Yes,
Okay,
but they're with the same parent company.
but there are two different agreements,
Yes.
though. So we probably ought to enact that way, guys, so, we can do, a motion that, actually, one motion that, states that there is two contracts, one for $45,000, one for 40, is fine. So, whoever would like to make a motion, or we can do two separate ones, that's up to you.
I make a motion, that, we accept the bid from Encompassing Education Incorporated, one for $45,000, one for $40,000.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussions, questions?
Again, I would mention, I hope the grant comes through that will reduce this cost by $20,000, and also then I had talked with the company about the possibility of a discount. So I'm hoping that the final price, while we'll approve this, I'm hoping that the final price will actually be less than that.
And this company is nothing new to us. I think, Mr. Scheidler, you have used this.
I think we probably have, what, 4-year, maybe 5-year relationship with her?
5 years.
Yeah, she's been to work with administrators, the elementary teachers at the elementary. She's bounced into the middle school and high school a little bit, so, yeah.
Okay.
Is she focusing on any certain area, or is this just, I think the one contract was math, if I recall, and
Math specialist intervention, and then, Emery asked for her to come and work with the, principals on evaluations, so that we're all consistent K-12, right, Emery?
Especially with having a new high school principal. She will also be working with the high school principal as well.
Any other questions?
and these are 2 days a month?
2 days a month,
Yeah, but then also online support.
then online if there's ever questions, or she's accessible that way, but in person here too, the rest is on.
So we're actually talking about $85,000?
That could be reduced up to $25,000 if that grant goes through. So. Okay. Any other questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Let's see here, 4D, COVID pay for Delphi employees. Mr. Hunter has, already talked on that. Mr. Ron, would you like to?
I'm proposing this to the board. I feel like that every employee at Delphi has gone above and beyond for the last 15 to 16 months. Just, again, I have mentioned to you several times that when I watch the news and see teachers say that they hope they can be back in the classroom in September, I just understand what a sacrifice that our people made in terms of the time and effort that they made to get through March and through May of 20, and then this following school year. And I think that they deserve a stipend for their extra services. Nothing would be enough to pay them for what perhaps they contributed, but this is I think would be a very generous gesture on the part of the board. So I would ask that you pass the resolution for the pay, and then also Mr. Connor has already signed an MOU from the Teachers Association, understanding how people, who will be paid and how they'll be paid.
Let me read the resolution and then we'll obtain a motion. Whereas the Elementary Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, ESSER Grant 2, provide an extra pay for employees for preparation of supplementing learning options, including virtual and increased duties due to the safety and health requirements prescribed by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, the Indiana Department of Health, and the Carroll County Department of Health in responding to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas legislation passed by the United States Congress and signed by President Biden allows employers to compensate their employees for these extra duties from March 12, 2020 through May 1st, 2021. Therefore be it resolved that the board shall provide a $600 stipend for all Delphi employees who were employed full-time from March 12, 2020 to May 1st, 2021, whose extra duties have been documented by a supervisor. Employees who were employed part-time shall receive a prorated amount based on the terms of employment and months worked. All employees who receive this stipend will have their extra duties verified by a supervisor. Be passed and adopted on this date, 24th of May, 2021. I need a motion.
I so moved.
Thank you. Okay, have a motion, second on the table. Any discussions, comments for Mr. Roth or the board itself?
When are we looking to pay this?
Well,
Or do we have to get all the?
we have to get all the documentation done, and then we have to revise our grant to reflect it, and so I'm hoping it can be in June sometime.
Do you have some examples of what you mean by documentation?
Well, we, for every employee group, we have a list of duties that we have identified were done extra that this COVID pandemic created. And then we have a survey for every individual who's gonna get this, that has to identify who they are, what they did, their position, and also then which of those duties they may have performed. And then a supervisor has to approve that they can verify that those things were done.
And if they don't complete that survey, they don't get.
If they don't do the survey, they don't get the money. It's been a very difficult thing because different schools are hearing different things from the state. So we are gonna go overboard in terms of documenting what we're gonna provide for them to qualify or justify this stipend.
Any other questions for Mr. Roth or any comment? Okay, if none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I will abstain.
I will abstain.
Is that 3 abstentions?
I'm not voting anyway, so yeah, put that way.
Well, Carly needs it for the roll call.
Yeah. 4-3.
4.
4-3 abstain for this thing. Okay, proposed revision of PO 9270.
Now, I'm sorry to
Oh,
interrupt.
go
May
ahead.
I assume that then you'll be able to to sign the MOU based on passing the resolution?
Let's,
The
Okay, take
the
care.
MOU reflects the language of the resolution.
okay, let's just go ahead and adopt that real quick. So we have a MOU, of understanding from the school association. So what I need from board to, a motion to allow, I guess the board president to,
Sign the
execute the agreement.
Second.
Do we have a motion, a second? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, now, proposed, revision of, PO 9270, the participation in extracurricular activities by non-traditional students.
You asked me to come back, or bring this back as language from Neola, and so this would be, the language that would fit, the guidance that I've received, and that, the first three paragraphs of this are the same. The fourth paragraph says that a resident student who's being educated at a non-accredited or homeschool may, however, enroll in one or more academic courses with the approval of the superintendent, and that such enrollments will be submitted to the state for funding purposes. And the main change is the superintendent may deny the enrollment of a resident student from a non-accredited or homeschool in less than a full-time schedule unless an IEP is in effect, and students denied enrollment shall not be eligible for participation in co-curricular or extracurricular programs of the corporation. So essentially, it is saying if a student is not a full-time student, they will not be able to engage in co-curricular or extracurricular programs. And that is Neola's language.
Okay. Need a motion to, adopt the Neola, language, for the, or homeschool, non-accredited school, policy, PO 9270.
Mr. President, I move we adopt PO 9270 as presented.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay, have a motion, second, any discussion?
I thought we already had, a policy in place for, like, part-time.
You do, but it says that part-time students can be in ECAs.
But
If the
we put a certain
superintendent
amount
approves.
of, I thought we put a certain amount of, classes,
We did, Chris, but they couldn't find the record.
but that seemed to me like it was like, you have to be here at least a half day or do 4 classes in order to qualify for that.
It was never changed in Neola, and the existing policy just simply said it was up to the superintendent.
So what this currently does, upgrade us to a point, and then if we further want to, take it into a more, restrictor type environment, we can do that, so. Ours a full-time student now, what's required to have? Five? Okay.
And then we had academic classes on there, on that wording.
Academic classes.
Yeah, cause I like the math and the social studies science.
Well, being, they have to be enrolled in all that anyway, right? To be considered a full student, that's what this is.
It says that a student from a private source can enroll in one or more academic courses with the approval of the superintendent.
Okay, any other questions, comments? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Mr. President,
yes,
getting back to that though, do we have any students on work release or anything like that?
That still counts as credit though,
Okay.
yeah. Still counts in there as a course.
all right. Purchase of wrestling mats. Actually, I think we've got a motion on the table, we need to bring it back to the table, so all we need is somebody to make a motion to bring the wrestling mat, motion back to the table, so we can discuss it.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. All in favor of bringing it back to the table, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right. So our motion was on the table was to, consider purchasing, the mats, Mr. Lucas. He's right there.
That's Mr. Dale.
Would you like to stand up and update us on, the current, mats, the cost that it's gonna cost us, on what has transpired since our last board meeting? Sure.
So, last board meeting, we voted to accept the Dahmer company mat of the other, excuse me. We voted to select the Dahmer company mat choice over the other two, and, let me just give the price.
Yes, if you would do that all again for us, that'd be great.
The Dahmer mat, the Dahmer mat that was selected, comes with a price tag of $12,894. That price is only valid until the end of May. So with an acceptance here tonight, we can get our purchase order in for the end of May. If we do not, the cost will go up by $1,000+.
What was the expected delivery date?
It is a 4 to 6 week lead time, so pretty quick.
So, you have been out, that you have, people that have, committed to, help the school corporation fund these mats. Am I correct?
That's right, we did a community outreach, basically, community, families, peers, asking them, hey, we are reaching out for help to bring in money towards a new wrestling mat. Altogether, through that outreach, we raised $2,330 from community, family, friends, through the coaching network that I have, that the other coaches have throughout the community.
Booster Club?
Along with our outreach, the Booster Club also vowed to support if needed. The $2,330 that wrestling brought in through our community outreach, per last school board meeting, to help the school board fund the wrestling mat, the unexpected purchase, the unexpected expense of the wrestling mat. I offered to contribute $2,150 towards the total amount of the wrestling mat. I also asked the boosters if they would match that $2,150 that wrestling is bringing in, and they accepted. So with wrestling's money, with the booster money, that is roughly one third of the expected cost of the wrestling mat.
So can you tell us what the total donation between, all parties will be?
Including the school board?
No, without school board. So I can get a figure,
Sure.
a dollar amount to, what we need to approve for it.
So
It's 12,894 minus 2330, is that right?
it was $2,150
Oh,
and
$2,150.
$2,150.
Okay, so that's $4,300.
Correct.
Okay, that's what we're up
Looks to me like we're at $6,600. From the outreach, from the wrestling.
to. 23. You have three different, you gave us three different numbers. Give us a 2330
Right, we raised $2,330,
with mats,
correct.
okay? And then,
I suggested that we bring forth 2150
Okay.
of that 2330.
Okay,
okay.
okay,
And
that's
then I
fine.
also asked the boosters to match that. With the match, with the boosters matching the wrestling funds, that is 1/3 of the overall cost of the match.
Okay, I understand what you're doing there. Okay, so, we're looking at a cost of a match of $12,894 with $4,300 in, donations, providing we, approve it tonight, which will leave us a cost to the board to help support the mats at, $8,594.
Whose motion was this originally?
So what we will need is to amend,
It was my understanding that we were gonna pay for all of this out of operations fund, and the boosters have been notified that we were not going to need that money for this purchase.
we have a letter from the, president of the, Booster Association said that they will contribute to the purchase of the mats, providing we do it at tonight's board meeting. Is that right? The commitment from the boosters.
They said they would commit if needed.
We notified them that we had enough money to pay for this out of operations fund. That's what
Yeah, I notified the entire board of that, correct?
Yes. Okay, so we're
And
going,
my suggestion is because of the type of the purchase, the longevity of the equipment, that if it's gonna be purchased, I thought it should be purchased by the school corporation.
okay, so we're just gonna go for the full amount, 12,000, and then your donations you can keep toward improving the, whatever equipment you may need. Okay, even better yet. All right, so we have a motion on the floor from the last time for the amount of $12,894. I'll talk about the donations later, for the purchase of the mats, to,
You wanna amend your motion to show that amount coming from operations fund?
Okay. So I amend the original,
$12,894.
$12,894. And it will all be coming from the operation fund.
Okay. Thank you. Do I have a second? Well, let's go ahead and get a second.
Second.
Thank you. All right. We have a motion, second. Any other discussion?
I have a question for the coach. So which one of the products are we looking at? We're looking at the one that has the, Velcro, so they
Correct.
don't come apart?
Correct, yep, there were 3 options. It is the Velcro, that was the best option of the 3, so we are purchasing, or voting to purchase that Velcro mat,
Okay.
what we currently wrestle on today.
And do I remember right, it's be easier for you to set up tournaments with the addition of this map?
Correct, we wouldn't have reoccurring costs of mat tape. Yep.
I'm gonna ask opinion of our new athletic director real quick.